celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Bolero Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, just a few miles north of the ATL. This is Coach Randy, welcoming you to episode 111 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, the return of the Prodigy Sons. We arrived at that title this week because 3 of the contestants who qualified for our Stepladder Finals today are former regulars on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, but for one reason or another haven't appeared on the show in a while. We began the day with 11 contestants bowling a 2-game qualifier. The top 4 were automatically seeded into our Stepladder Finals today. And among those 4 are our 3 returning Prodigy Sons, and a first-timer on Prodigy who you'll meet later. The 5th spot will go to the survivor of our Wildcard Round, which will be decided today with a single ball eliminator. The players in our Wildcard Round will bowl in the order they completed our qualifying round. Leading off the Wildcard Round is Anthony Smiga, who qualified in the 5th position, just missing out on the 4th seed by 10 pins. And Anthony, because he was the leading qualifier among these 7 Wild Card Round participants, he had the choice of starting lanes, and a little uncharacteristic for one of our single ball elimination rounds, but he chose to start on the right lane this time and starts with 9. Now next to go, Christian Manel. Christian with games of 183 and 167 in the qualifying round. That was good for 6th place, and it put him in this wild card round. And he gets 9. So he and Anthony both with 9 to start. Usually 9 is good enough to get you through. Next up is Hunter Moffett. Hunter had games of 165 and 174 in his qualifying round. And Hunter rips the rack to start. And he is safely on to frame 2 of this single ball elimination wildcard round. Nolan Kemp, who started with a 201 in qualifying, fell off to a 136 the second game, and that's what dropped him into the wild card round. He qualified 8th out of a field of 11. And he steamrolls the pins on his first toss. So he's safely on to frame 2 of this single ball elimination wild card round. Now Josh Greenberg. 178 and 148 were his 2 games in qualifying. And he gets a Brooklyn strike. So Anthony and Christian remain the 2 players on the bubble with those 9 counts. I can't think of a time when 9 wasn't good enough to move on. But now Brandon Caraviti. 143 and 164 were his qualifying scores. And he gets a solid strike. That 9-pin a little late to go, but it did go. So now we get to our 11th qualifier, Rowan Sautner. Rowan struggled a bit in qualifying. He had scores of 131 and 110. By far the littlest player in our field. Oh, and he needed 9 to get into a roll-off with Anthony and Christian. It's Rowan who takes the first exit ramp from our wild card round in this single ball eliminator. And they're singing na 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 na, hey hey, kissing goodbye. Customary in the early frames of our single ball eliminator. Now Anthony, frame 2.
I'm out.
Well, you heard him say, I'm out. And 7. Sometimes it's good enough, sometimes not so much. Remember, the player with the low pinfall is eliminated each frame. And if 2 tie, 2 or more tie, we go to a roll-off until we eliminate one of them. And we will rinse and repeat until we're down to just one survivor. Something didn't seem right there. Christian's been working on his swing plane. I've had him change his push away. He used to push it out to the right. It caused his backswing to wrap way behind his back. Now he pushes it more toward the center of his body. It's fixed his swing plane as he leaves a 7-10 split. One of the few times he'll be happy to see it, as that 8 count will be good enough to get him on to frame 3. But I suspect that when he started on that first truncated approach, he may have felt his push away going off in the wrong direction, and he pulled it back and decided to start over. Turned out to be a pretty good decision, even though he did leave a 7-10 split. It's good enough this time. All right, Hunter. Uh-oh. Wide of the head pin this time. And Hunter lets Anthony off the hook. Anthony's now safe. And Hunter is on the bubble with a 6 count. Well, the reset button that's on the ball return on lane 39, the left lane of this pair, still doesn't work, so we have to go through the scoring panel to reset the pin setter. Takes a few seconds extra and a few more taps on the keypad. But now Nolan is set to go. Got to beat 6 to be safe and on to frame 3. And that's pretty safe right there. Nolan with his simple down and in game. Not a lot to go wrong there. Once again, Hunter's 6 is the number to beat. And that'll do it. Josh is safely on to frame 3. Now Brandon, who's having a hard time living down that moment in a single ball eliminator a few weeks ago where he only needed 4 to move on. He got up that frame and said, I can handle 4. And he proceeded to get 1 and was eliminated. So, Brandon, can you handle 6? I guess you'll need 7. 6 for a roll-off. I got a feeling he'll take care of this one. Yes, indeed. And so Hunter waves goodbye, and he is the next to be eliminated from our wild card round in this single ball elimination format. So we're now down to 5 players. We move back to the right lane for frame 3. And back to our leadoff bowler, Anthony. Crossing over, manages to get 8. And next to go will be Christian. Christian's still looking for his first win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. A couple of years ago, he was the winningest player on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. This year, he's still on the outside looking in. But with enough shots like that, and you just might see him in the winner's circle as he gets a messenger strike. And that means he's safely on to frame 4. Next up is Nolan, who's thrown nothing but strikes thus far in this wild card round. Well, his string of strikes stops, and that's 7. Anthony breathes a sigh of relief, and now Nolan is on the bubble. Josh resets the rack. He will step away for just a moment. Josh is a fidgety little guy sometimes. But he's ready to go now. And that ball comes in a little thin, and now he's got 7. So Josh and Nolan tied with the low number. So Brandon, can you handle 8? 8 will get you past the 3rd frame and send Nolan and Josh Greenberg to a roll-off. Anything less than 7, and it'll be Brandon who says goodbye. Through the nose, but he gets 9. And he knows he got away with 1 that time. That could have been most anything, but Brandon is safe. And Nolan and Josh will now roll off to see which of those 2 will be eliminated. They will stay on the right lane. Nolan will go first. One of these 2 players is about to get to the end of the road today. Bang! Nolan jam in the pocket with that one, and now Josh has got to match him just to continue. Yeah, I don't know if he didn't like that one or if he wants one just like that one, but a little practice swing. I think we call that a waggle in golf. Josh must strike to force this roll-off to another frame. Otherwise, it's Nolan who's moving on. Oh, and he gets a Brooklyn. So we move to a second roll-off frame. Josh talking trash. All right. He's thrown the gauntlet down. Nolan knows he's got to be serious here. He will set his feet carefully and try to repeat what he just did on the last ball. And he does. He stuffs him straight back. And Nolan gives little Josh the evil eye to let him know he's coming for him. No, are you kidding? Well, the pin setter knocks over the 4-pin. The 4-pin must have moved 10 inches off spot. That's got to be one of the worst breaks I've ever seen in bowling. Josh just got hosed by that pin action, but anytime the pin setter aids in causing pins to fall, in other words, if the pin setter comes down and touches a pin and knocks it over, it doesn't count. So that's a 9 count. We're on to frame 4. Anthony leading off gets 9. And we're down to just 4 players now. Anthony, Christian, Nolan, and Brandon. As our 3 littlest players are eliminated first. Usually we have at least 1 or 2 of them survive until late in these wildcard rounds, these single ball eliminators, but not today. It's Christian who's up next. Little thin with that one. And that's 7 count. As we get a smaller and smaller field, those 7 counts look a little more tenuous. So we'll see if Christian survives. Nolan will be next to go. If we can find him.
Hey, don't buy TV.
Well, you got to reset the rack first anyway, but where is Nolan? Somebody said he may be up at the snack bar. When it's your turn, you need to be ready. So here's Christian. I think he's trying to negotiate with Brandon to see how much he has to pay him to get Brandon to throw one in the gutter so Christian can survive another frame. Sorry, not allowed in Prodigy competition. I think they're just joking. I hope so anyway. All right, Nolan up on lane 39. 7 is the number to beat. And Nolan plows through the pins with that one. So he's safe. And Christian is 1 step closer to being eliminated. Anthony and Nolan are moving on for sure. It's just a matter of, will it be Christian or will it be Brandon who takes the next off-ramp? It will be Christian. So he heads home, and now we're down to just 3, Anthony, Nolan, and Brandon. There's a 9 count for Anthony.
Just throw the ball. I want food. If you guys do not strike, I'm going to be disappointed. You have to wait for me.
So he and Brandon will have to match 9 to get into a roll-off or beat it to move on. Nolan gets 9. So Brandon can punch his ticket into the final 2 of this wild card round with a strike. 9 would mean we'd have 3 players in a roll-off. 8 would mean Brandon is out.
Throw it out wide.
It's a ringing 10, so that's another 9 count. Brandon can't believe it, but that means we've got a roll-off. All 3 of our players will throw another ball, at least one more. Anthony with 8. And it remains to be seen if that'll get him to the final 2 here. He'll keep his fingers crossed. Nolan has a history of finishing high in our single ball eliminations, but he's never won one. He gets 9, so that actually means he's safe. So he will be one of our 2 in the final frame of this single ball elimination wildcard round. Will it be Nolan and Anthony, or will it be Nolan and Brandon? Don't know. We're about to find out, though.
It looks pretty good.
Somebody said it looked pretty good. I'd say it looked ideal. And Brandon and Nolan will be our final 2 in this single ball elimination wildcard round as Anthony checks out. And now we move back to lane 39. One of these 2 players will be our 5 seed in the Stepladder Finals today. And I got to tell you, this is a star-studded field. You haven't seen who it's going to be yet, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Oh, man. Can't throw it much better than that. Nolan with a stone 7. Now, there is a pin in the right gutter here on lane 39. I've given both players the option to throw a ball down the gutter to clear it if they want to, and Brandon has exercised that option. But now he's going to need 9 for a roll-off or a strike to move on to the Stepladder Finals. And I think Nolan just came up and muttered to him, he said, "Get at least 6. Oh, he gets 8, leaves the 2-8, and it's Nolan who's going to move on to the Stepladder Finals. He's our 5 seed. You'll meet the finalists in our Stepladder Finals when we return next.
Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit ProdigyBowlersTour.com to see the selection. That's ProdigyBowlersTour.com.
So with the wildcard round out of the way, here's a quick recap. As Nolan Kemp survived 2 roll-offs, one against Josh Greenberg in the 3rd frame, where Josh got hosed by some radical pin action that was most unkind. And then in the 5th frame, Nolan eked past Anthony to get to the 6th and decisive frame, where his 9 count was good enough to get past Brandon Caraviti and into our Stepladder Finals today. So now, let's meet the 5 finalists who will be competing for the title today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. In the 5th position, you've already met Nolan Kemp. Ever since winning his first solo singles title on Prodigy back on our Halloween show, Nolan has been bowling with renewed confidence. He'll meet our number 4 qualifier and the first of our 3 Prodigy sons who have returned to bowl with us today, Josh Donaghy. Josh only bowled league with us for 1 season here at Bolero Roswell, but he left a lasting impression both on our league and on Prodigy viewers. One of the most powerful two-handers in the state of Georgia, Josh is now on the men's team at Emmanuel College. The winner of that opening match will face our number 3 qualifier and another member of that team at Emmanuel College. Stephen Lackey is making his first appearance on Prodigy today. Stephen got off to a fast start in qualifying and found himself in 2nd place after Game 1, and he held on to qualify 3rd. The winner of that 2nd match will advance to match 3 to face another of our Prodigy sons who came home to bowl with us today. He's our number 2 qualifier, Charles Bostic. Charlie won the very first coveted trophy pin in the spring of 2017, and this is his first time bowling a match on Prodigy since January of 2019 when he won on Taco Saturday. And the winner of that semifinal match will advance to face our tournament leader and the 3rd Prodigy son that came home to bowl with us today, Big Logan Madness. Logan is the 3rd member of that awesome men's team at Emmanuel College that made our top 5 today, and he's responsible for Stephen Lackey and Josh Donahue being here today. But Logan lapped the field, finishing qualifying 75 pins clear of the field. And that's our field of finalists today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. With such an impressive field, I didn't want to water it down by throwing too hard a pattern at them, so we're bowling on a challenge pattern today known as Bourbon Street. 40 feet in length, Bourbon Street has a ratio of about 7.5 to 1. A little easier than a sports shot, a little tougher than a house shot. With a volume of just 23.45 milliliters of oil, Bourbon Street could start to transition fairly quickly. The TV pair was fresh when we went on today, so except for what you saw in the wildcard round and any practice balls thrown, that's all the play this pair has seen. We begin with match 1 of our Stepladder Finals between Nolan Kemp and Josh Donaghy. Josh, being the higher seed, had the choice of starting lanes, and he has elected to let Nolan start the match. Usually when a player decides to let his opponent lead off, it's because he wants to finish first. Either that or he just prefers the left lane and wants to finish on it. Either way, here's Nolan throwing the first ball of the match. That one drifts a little high. You could tell he just missed the 2nd arrow. That's his normal target today, it looks like. That's where he's been playing. Missed it a couple of boards left, so he'll move over to the extreme left side of the lane to shoot the 610. And he covers the spare without any problem at all. Well, here's a young man we haven't seen on Prodigy since a couple of seasons ago. Josh Donahue, a familiar style to Prodigy viewers. But he misses to the right with that one and starts with the washout. The 1-2-8-2 10. Put the ball on the left side of the head pin, drive the head pin into the 10. The ball will get the 2. The 2 will get the 8 if everything goes according to Hoyle. And that is perfectly done. Looks like they have taught him well at Emmanuel. Although I think Josh had this in him before he went to college. He was always a good spare shooter. Well done. And that's high flush right there. Josh always seems to hit the line in perfect balance. Watch that shot again. And watch how steady his head is through the release. Follow through straight toward his target. Boom. Textbook. Nolan's going to have his hands full this game. Well, he crosses over with that one. Not his best shot. And he's grabbing his shoulder like something's bothering him, but he gets away with one there. Keeps the match even. Nolan knows what he's in for this game. Josh bowled league with us for 1 season. Nolan has practically grown up in our youth bowling program. So he bowled with Josh 1 year. Got to watch him attack the lanes and everybody who got in his way. Ooh, a little wide with that one. His shoulder may be bothering him a little bit, not sure, but he's left the 1-2-8. Going to want to move his feet a few boards to the right. Throw it right over his strike target. Let the ball drift over to the Brooklyn side of the head pin. Take out the 1-2, and the 2 will get the 8. You can actually cover all 3 pins with the ball as well. And that's exactly what he did. So Josh moves over to the right lane, where he missed the head pin with his first toss in the first frame. Doesn't make that mistake again, though. And he takes a 10-pin lead with that double. Watch this smooth approach. 5 steps, little crossover with his second. Keeps that elbow in pretty close. Hand behind the ball, lifts straight through the ball. And watch this thing just penetrate the pocket. Those pins had no chance. Oh my goodness. It comes in a little light. The 5-pin got paralyzed on what might have been a wall shot or a light shaker, but it got caught between another pin and the ball and just got paralyzed. So, Josh, you get to shoot the 5-pin. A spare he won't see all that often. But about the easiest spare there is, and he takes care of it without breaking a sweat. Well, we've got a real contrast in styles here. The modern two-handed game with Josh Donaghy, and Nolan going all the way back to the age of Don Carter in the 50s with the bent elbow and the bent wrist. Don Carter, one of the greatest bowlers who ever lived, bowled very similar style as Nolan. Nolan missed his target wide right that time. fanning the head pin and leaves the 1-2-4. But his confidence has been growing over the past couple of years. And I think there might have been a time that he would have thought he didn't have much of a chance against a player like Josh. Today, I think he's willing to take his chances. And he covers the spare, so he stays clean through 4 frames. The difference in this match right now is that double that Josh got in the 2nd and 3rd frames. The pattern they're bowling on today, not one of the hardest. I would expect the scores to be relatively high. Well, it seems like Nolan is right in that in-between zone. He misses to the right, and the ball sails. He pulls it aboard, and it hooks high. And that is a place no bowler likes to be. I think if Nolan were to move his feet about a board or two to the left, move his eyes a board or two left as he makes that spare, he might open up the lane just a little bit, give himself just a little more miss area. This pattern just forgiving enough that I think you can give yourself a little margin for error. Now Josh working on a spare up in the 5th. Boom goes the dynamite. Josh blasts him down that time. Over the 4th arrow, out to about 8 at the break point, and just sweeps him off the lane. He makes it look easy. And he's got all the shots working too. Collapsing the 4-9 that time. A little high with that hit. Watch his footwork. Short little first step. Crossover on the 2nd. Got the little skip step working. And he gets the 4-9 to collapse at the end. Must be nice to have all that power. And Nolan stuffs him straight back. I don't think we've heard the last from him this match. Looks like he made a slight adjustment that time. Moved left with his feet slightly. This pattern with a slightly lower than average volume means the lanes are likely to transition pretty quickly. Players will have to be careful and stay ahead of that transition. Keep moving left. Well, he may have moved a little too far left that time. Another thing for Nolan to learn is he's had that ball now for a year, maybe a year and a half. And I wonder if he's ever taken it into the pro shop for a good deep cleaning. That Hypercell fused should have a pretty strong back end reaction. But if it's full of oil, that reaction will be cut down somewhat. It's a good idea to clean your equipment religiously after every session with ball cleaner, and every once in a while touch it up with some Abralon pads. Tell you what, even without a deep clean, I bet I could get that ball to hook more by just hitting it with an Abralon pad, putting a little more surface on it. Crunch. Well, Josh with a turkey now and a 35-pin lead. He's going to be tough to beat. He's always tough to beat. I do love watching this kid bowl, though. My goodness. He is just poetry in motion. Just a pinch high that time, leaves the 4. So the string stops 3. But he shouldn't have any problem at all with this. You stay around the pocket, and you're going to leave yourself easy spares. We talk about the importance of spare shooting. It's also important to leave yourself makeable spares. Nothing to it. All right, Nolan. It's time to put your foot on the gas and string some strikes here at the end of the match. Put a little heat on Josh. This kid is pretty tough-minded. When he makes up his mind to make a good shot, he's usually close. Oh, man, that could have gone. But 9 and a wiggle is all he gets out of a good shot. As the 7 wiggles and jiggles but does not fall. And apparently the in-house scoring thought that was a strike. I think Nolan thought it was a strike when he let it go. So we have to make a correction in-house. The scoring on your screen is correct. Nolan for the 7-pin. And he takes care of it. Nolan, if he strikes out, can shoot 213. Josh is going at a 228 pace. So Nolan needs to get busy here, string some strikes at the end, and hope for a little help from Josh. You never know. It's a funny game. Nolan gives himself a chance with that one. Watch this. A little more of a left to right trajectory off the mark. Tells me he's moved a little left with his feet, playing right around that second arrow still. Oh man, you better duck. They're flying from everywhere. Usually a messenger strike, the head pin is on the floor, but watch it this time. Josh sends the 1 pin airborne. And they're coming from the sky. All right, Josh needs 8 on this ball, and that would lock it up. Oh, there's 8. And that'll do it. Even if he misses them both, that would give him 206 in the 9th and 214 in the 10th. The most Nolan can get is 213. So Josh is the winner of match 1. And oh, Nolan's got to be kicking himself right about now. Just one more double somewhere. Could have been a whole different story. So Josh finishes with 216. It's gonna be good enough to defeat Nolan Kemp. But Nolan's bowled a clean game thus far. He's got nothing to be ashamed of. He can finish with 213 if he punches out. Well, there's one strike. So with good count on the next ball, he's going to end up in the 200s at least. Stone solid, perfect in the pocket. People wonder sometimes how Nolan can get away with that crooked elbow and that bent wrist. I think it's because his timing is so late. In coaching parlance, he has leverage timing. His foot gets to the line long before the ball does. Pretty good shot there, just a teeny bit high. And he's kicking himself. He knows he could have won this one. It's all right. He bowled well. With a conversion, it'll be a 202. But it's Josh Donaghy who is the winner of our first match today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. He will meet his college teammate, Stephen Lackey, in match 2 when we return.
Excuse me, Are you guys bowling fans?
Yes, we sure are.
Yeah, I bowled as a kid. It's what you did. It was cool.
Bowling was big. It was bigger than football.
The word bowling is funny.
Big belly, beer drinking idiots.
Perceptions are very difficult to change over the years.
Americans don't spend as much time either in bowling leagues or other common activities. We have to do something about that.
We desperately need credibility.
Our value is limited unless we do things to push our value up.
We live in the United States of entertainment.
And the two things that drive our business are the audience and sponsors, not the players.
And in the United States of entertainment, the one sin you cannot commit is to bore somebody.
If you want it to be big, you want to get on the air with a bang. Bam!
You are being given a privilege because of your skills.
A lot of guys my age feel a little resentment.
I try to convey a positive image. You get Pete Weber, just the opposite.
Get it right there!
We were contacted about sponsoring the sport. Basically, anyone who has stinky feet.
When Pete finished his match, he said, "I want to play the best in the world." And Walter Ray looked at him and said, "Bring it on."
I made a decision to basically give my entire life to bowling.
Go for it. Spectacular.
I just want it to be a great show, and I think we're getting there. We've come a long way, baby.
How cool is this?
I like the drama. I love it. I love it.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Before we get to match 2, let's review how we got here. The players bowled a 2-game qualifier. Logan Madness asserted himself right from the start with a strong 231, with Stephen Lackey just 15 pins behind. Josh Donahue and Nolan Kemp both scored above 200, and little Josh Greenberg was in the mix in 6th. Charles Bostic got off to a slow start. But then when Game 2 rolled around, Charlie leapfrogged past everyone but our leader. His 233 was good enough to move him into 2nd place, and all 3 of these young fellows from Emmanuel College, Big Logan, Stephen, and Josh Donahue, stepped up to get one of the guaranteed spots in the top 4. Everyone from 5th on down had to go through our Wildcard Round, which you saw at the top of the show. That's where Nolan Kemp jumped from 8th all the way into the 5th position and a spot in the Stepladder Finals. But his stay there only lasted 1 game. Nolan bowled a very credible, clean game, but Josh Donaghy, one of the 3 Prodigy sons who returned home to bowl Prodigy Bowlers Tour today, managed to string just enough strikes together to propel him to our 2nd match, where he'll now face our number 3 seed and one of his Emmanuel teammates. Stephen Lackey is making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour today, and I think you're really going to enjoy watching this guy roll the rock. Well, he rolled it a little right of where he wanted to that time. But you can see this guy has a pretty simple game. Very piston-like motion. Not a lot to go wrong. Got the 1-2-4 here. And makes short work of it. So a spare to begin for Stephen Lackey. And now Josh Donaghy over on the right lane. Josh finished 5th as a U15 at Junior Gold in 2015. This guy has been one of the best bowlers in Georgia for a while now. But he finds the stone 9 to start match 2. But he's cool. He takes it all in stride. No huffing and puffing from this guy. He'll just say, all right, I got a spare to make. And he'll go make it, I'll bet. He doesn't miss many. Stays pretty level when he's bowling. Maybe why he's so good. That and the fact that he's got a heck of a game. His dad was his coach as he was growing up, and I'd say he did a heck of a job with him. Real sound fundamentals, lots of power. All right, Stephen up on lane 40. Maybe a little overcorrection for the shot he threw in the first frame, where he went wide of the head pin. This one comes up high, and he leaves the 3-6-10. And he goes over to another pair of lanes off to our left to grab his urethane ball to go a little straighter at this spare. A little straighter than he would have liked. And an open frame for Stephen. He falls 14 pins in arrears. And you don't want to be handing pins to Josh Donaghy early in a match. High once again. This time the 6-9 remains. Stephen hasn't quite figured out the line on this pair, I'd say. Well, the qualifying went on lanes 35 through 38. 39 and 40, they get 2 practice balls on each lane when they come on. He gets the spare. Barely. And now Josh gets up in the third frame, got a strike working. And he finds the pocket. That couldn't have been any more solid. And he extends his lead to 24 pins. Watch this one. Once again, perfect balance at the line, that steady head. Follow through straight down the line. And that sounds like a recipe for success. This time the 9 goes out a little late, but it goes. And Josh with a turkey has extended his lead to 34 over Stephen. As Stephen contemplates what he needs to do to adjust and find the line. And whatever he did, it worked there. Take another look at it. Standing at about 24, I'd say. Throws it out to about 8 at the break point. That's where we have seen most of the best shots. Looks like he's found it. That time, just a little inside. And it goes high, and once again, he's got the 3-6. He ran by the 3-pin earlier when he had the 3-6-10. See if he makes an adjustment. This time he stays left of the 3-pin. That's not the way we recommend making the 3-6, but you take him however you can get him. Steven looking for his first double of the match. Meanwhile, Josh working on 3 in a row. But the streak stops there, as that ball was a little wide of the mark, and he has the 2-4-10. Here's how you make it. Put the ball on the left side of the 2-pin, throw the 2 over into the 10, let the ball get the 4. Well, he was close. How close? See if we can pick it up here. That steady head is good for being super accurate. When you keep a steady head, you're able to keep your eyes on the target. That's how close he was. Maybe a ½ inch. That's 60 feet. But high with that one. And now he's left himself a cluster that can give him fits. The 3-6-9-10. You want to put the ball on the right side of the 3-pin. Let the ball drive through and get the back pin. And the 6 will get the 10. Well, he was a little too full on 3-pin and chopped it off the 6. 6-pin was wiggling. I don't know if it was hit or if the wind got it. But in any case, it's an open frame for Josh, and this match is now just down to 5 pins. But Steven still searching for the pocket. He's managed 1 strike this match. He missed the spare earlier. But he gets it this time. So he stays within 8 pins of Josh. Well, Steven has bowled on the GYBT, the Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour. The last few years, he's had a couple of second-place finishes and a 3rd. So he's been very competitive. Not with shots like that, however. He's been crowding the head pin much of this match, and now he's paying for it. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. Slide the 3 over into the 4 and 7. The ball will get the 6, 10. That's the plan anyway. He's going to play this up the right side of the lane. Close, but a little too full on the 3-pin. So he hands that open frame right back to Josh. And Josh takes a 25-pin lead sitting on the bench. And that's how you get a weak 10 to carry. That 6 pin was going to lay down in the gutter all day long, but the head pin said, I'll get you. Watch this. This ball is going to finish a little bit behind the head pin, but the head pin's going to go to the left wall and come back screaming. Oh. Well, this oil pattern is not giving them quite as much leeway as I thought it might. The 3-6, 7-10. Slide the 3 over into the 7. The ball will get the 6 and 10. It's a beautiful thing when it's made. And he went for it boldly, but he gets 8 out. And that tightens the match once again. 11 pins separating these two. And Steven, a little high once again, trips the 4 pin, and I think he liked that one. Take another look at it here. That one got all the way out to about the 6th board, came charging back. And he gets another one just like it. Back-to-back trip 4s, and this match is down to just 1 pin separating them. Watch his reaction this time. All right, that puts the heat on Josh now. Oh my goodness. That was going to be a ripper, but something got in the way of the 5 pin. The 5 was whistling over to get the 7, and something blocked it. So now, advantage Steven. He will have a strike up in the 9th. Josh will have a spare up in the 9th. As they head to the final frame. Josh, a possible 187. He will force Steven to double if he can strike out. But no, the 10 refuses to fall. So now we have a match that is all knotted up. Josh, a possible 176. Now, he can't afford any hiccups here. He's got to make this spare. I would have been shocked if he'd have missed that 10 pin. Josh does not miss single pin spares very often. But now the situation is this. Josh needs a strike here on his fill ball, and that will force Steven to get the first strike in the 10th to beat him. He snaps out the 10 pin. And except for that unfortunate carry in the 9th where the 7 pin stubbornly refused to go, Josh has done all he could. Now it falls in Steven's lap. He must strike on this ball or Josh wins. But you can't throw one any better than that. Man, what a clutch performance. Watch it again. He saves his best shot for the 10th frame. That is 10 in the pit right there. Now he needs 6 pins to put an end to this. 10 will do. And what a comeback. Watch it again. That ball close to his ankle. In good balance at the line. That ball just drives through the pins. Well, he gets 7 on the fill ball, so that's going to be a 193. And Stephen Lackey comes back from the dead in that match to defeat Josh Donaghy, and he will move on to the semifinal where he'll face Charles Bostic next.
Calvin is like one of the most competitive people on this planet.
Mocha is always in your face, trying to talk about what she can do and what you can't do.
Rafael is so competitive that's very easy to push his buttons. That's the #1 reason I do it.
Send in the security guard.
Excuse me. Stay right there. What's going on right now?
I want to beat you. Okay.
You're about to lose, bro. Yeah, if you get one more, what are you gonna do about it? Oh, wow. What, dude.
We have a perfect score on lane 14. Congratulations on your 300. Stay put. We have a prize for you. $3,000.
Congratulations! You did it!
You voted 300, bro. You voted perfect game.
Oh, hell yeah.
You voted perfect game.
You just won $3,000. What? How does that make you feel? Rich?
Are you gonna share this prize with your friends?
No, of course not.
Are you a professional bowler? Do you bowl? You just bowled a perfect game.
Hey, sorry, I was watching. You didn't actually bowl a 300.
He did?
I'm pretty sure I did bowl 300.
No, you did not bowl a 300. I was keeping track.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I've never bowled a perfect game.
I'm sorry for you.
You didn't bowl a 300. I had my eye on your guys' score. You didn't bowl a 300.
I'll challenge you right now.
I don't need a challenge. I need someone to verify this for me.
Can I get security in lane 14?
Hey, for the past 6 months. I'm sorry. I bowl here constantly.
Excuse me. Stay right there. What's going on right now?
This guy was about to accept a $3,000 check from me.
Don't talk to him. Talk to me. Did you bowl the 300? I guess. The computer says so.
He did not bowl a 300.
He did? No, I'm pretty good. You're about to steal $3,000 for something you didn't do? Wow.
There's nothing worse than stealing from a bowling alley.
Oh, really? I can think of a few things worse than that, but...
A lot of things. Guys, go. Hey. Ma'am.
Are you being for real? Because I'm being serious. Oh my goodness, this is so my God.
Dude, I got you so good! Waiting so There's a camera there, another camera there. Okay.
For your participation, Bolero is going to give you a 300.
Thank you, Bolero.
Thank you, Bolero, for an awesome time. Thank you.
In a thrilling, grinded-out match between Emmanuel College teammates, one of our 3 Prodigy sons that returned home to bowl Prodigy with us today, Josh Donaghy, got off to a fast start, but he just couldn't quite put Stephen Lackey away. And at the end of the match, it was Stephen who threw the clutch shots to close the door on Josh. So, Stephen now advances to our semifinal match to face the second of our 3 Prodigy sons who returned to bowl with us today. Charles Bostic seems to be living a nomadic lifestyle in the past year or so, traveling from place to place each week, living just about every youth bowler's dream, going from city to city to compete in scholarship tournaments. And recently, he even bowled in the U.S. Open. But he took time out from his travel schedule to stay home and bowl league with us this morning, and we were thrilled when he said he would be staying today to bowl Prodigy. And, well, here he is, our number 2 seed in the stepladder. Charlie had the option, and he has elected to start the match. I think he wants to finish on lane 40. Boom. An emphatic way to say, I'm back. Over the 4th arrow, out to about 8. It seems to be the magic line players have been playing, or trying to anyway. That one got away from Steven just a little bit. You could see its trajectory. It got out to about the 5th or 6th board. Didn't quite make the turn back. He was lucky to break up the 2-8 and wind up with just the 8 pin. And he throws his urethane ball straight at it to make the spare. So these two exchange marks in the first frame. Oh, a little high, trips the 4. Steven liked that one. I don't know if Charlie did, but the anatomy of a trip 4. Watch the 2 pin, the 3rd one from the left. It'll go to the left wall, slip between the 4 and 7, trip them both out. Steven loved that one. Charlie loved that one. Smacking that 10 pin, getting it to fall inward. Tell you what, Charlie's been pretty much living the youth bowler's dream, traveling around the country to all these tournaments. Each week, we hardly ever see him in league. Loved having him at league today, having him stay after to bowl Prodigy with us. But it's made him a tougher player. Seven pin, stubbornly stands there just laughing at him. I think he moved it a couple of inches. Yeah, we've got an out of range. An out of range is where the pin slides off spot far enough that the pin setter can't pick it up. And we got to call the desk on this one. Watch it. Something's going to move the 7 pin about 2 inches to the left. I think it moved it back some as well. There's a few inches behind the back row and where that pin deck ends. And got the guy back in the back, clearing the dead wood, leaving the 7 pin right where it is off spot. I wouldn't imagine that its off spot position will cause any problems for Charlie to cover this single pin spare. And it's gone. Well, these players all know one another. They bowl in tournaments around the state of Georgia. Many of them have grown up together, so they'll needle each other. They like to compete with each other. Oh, how about that one? Steven knows he should be ashamed of himself, but he's not going to give it back. And he's definitely going to take some needling from Charlie over that one. Watch this. It's wide right all the way. but the head pin is going to go to the left wall and come back and sneak behind the 2 and roll it forward. Thank you very much. What the bowling gods give, the bowling gods taketh away. An apparent good hit, but watch the 6 pin. It's going to lay in the right gutter and just kind of die there. Doesn't have quite enough impetus to kick out the 10. It's what we call the weak 10. But he makes it. And so, this match is all even. Charlie gets the shaker.
Yeah, I put a little extra in that one. I gave it a little bit.
Yeah, he says he got a little extra with that one. He got a handful at the bottom. Usually a player knows it if he caught it all at the release. And Charlie knew that one was good as soon as it left his hand. All right, he can take the lead with another one here. And 10 back. He served that one on a silver platter and said, "Steven, have some of this." Here's his footwork. You notice he's not wearing his Air Jordans anymore. He had some soles glued onto some Air Jordans, but they put a stop to that when he bowled in the U.S. Open. I think they want you to have some actual bowling shoes on your feet. All right, Steven back up on the right lane. Oh, and he gets another lucky one. Man, that was so high. And Charlie is definitely giving him the business over it. Watch the 2 pin once again. It's going to be the one that goes to the left wall and gets the 4 and 7. The 10 went out late too. That thing was so high it could have been a 4-7-10. Oh! This time 9 and a wiggle is all you're going to get, young fella, and Charlie will let him hear about it. Charlie can't believe his good fortune that the 4 stayed up that time. And Steven makes short work of it. But Charlie with a 10-pin lead and has a couple of strikes on the board. He can extend the lead to 20 with another one here in the 6th frame. But no! And Charlie says, "Where's my Stephen Lackey trip 410?" Well, he didn't get it. And there it is, the 4-10 split. Charlie's made this on Prodigy before. Just put the ball on the left side of the 4 pin and slide it across the lane. Well, he got a little too much of the 4 that time. But that cost him the lead. And he's not happy about it.
I knew it, I just said it.
So Steven takes the lead, sitting on the bench. And Charlie with a ringing 10. Here's how a ringing 10 happens. Watch the 6 pin, the second one from the right. Instead of laying in the gutter, it flies up and around the neck of the 10 pin. We call it the ringing 10 or the solid 10. A little different than a soft 10 or weak 10. Charlie converts, keeps it close. You get these better players on the lanes, and usually it'll go down to the end of the match. Not if they throw shots like that, however. Steven through the nose leaves the 3-pin. Lucky to just leave that. That could have been most anything. Oh, and he pulled it and whiffs the 3-pin. An unforced error for sure. So Steven hands the lead right back to Charlie. Did not see that coming. Oh, and that one overreacts. And this time he trips the 6. Charlie wants to strangle him now. Well, the best thing to do is just put some strikes on the board of your own. There's a trip 4 that Charlie can call his own. And I do believe he liked that one. Justice, he says. All right, he can extend the lead with another one here in the 9th. He doesn't like it. You can see why. That one never got wide enough. So the 3-6. And now actually the advantage goes to Steven. Even though Charlie leads by 8 pins at the moment. Steven has that strike working in the 8th. Now Charlie gets his spare here in the 9th. Which he does. The best Charlie can do now is 215 if he strikes out in the 10th. Steven, meanwhile, if he takes it off the sheet, would end up with 227. Oh boy. He nearly had that split again, but a huge break as the 7 and 10 go down, and he has just the 4-pin. He needs to move a little left. He makes the 4. And now the situation is this. If they both strike out, Charlie would shoot 215, Steven would shoot 207. So whatever Steven does here in the 10th, Charlie's going to have to match him to beat him. Boom! So we know Charlie's at least going to need a mark to match Steven. Now, if Steven can get the 2nd strike in the 10th, Charlie will need the double. Watch this shot again. He gives it the big loft to try to get the ball to hold line. It does. And down they go. But now, here's the shot that can really put the heat on Charlie. Wow. Steven throws his 2 best shots of the match in the 10th frame. And I'll tell you what, you have a simple game, a swing that's easy to repeat, and it'll hold up under pressure, and his just did. Now, he needs 8 pins on the fill ball to force Charlie to double in the 10th to beat him. That'll do it. So the pressure now falls to Charlie. He trails by 1. He's got to get the first 2 strikes in the 10th. And then 2 pins on the fill ball. Oh, that 10 went late. But it went. Yeah, he just commented to Steven that 10 pin looked like it might stay up. Watch the 6 pin. It's going to fly around the 10. This is almost a ringing 10. But that 6 will just get it as it goes around. Well, this is where all those thousands of hours of practice come in. He just got to trust his game. Must strike. And he snaps out the 10 this time. And that's the double he needed. The 2 pins on the fill ball should be no problem. That was the critical ball right there. He had to have that one to win the match. And that was a thing of beauty. So just stay behind the foul line and don't hit your ankle. That is a winner. That is a strike. And Charlie Bostic is moving on to the championship match to face big Logan Madness. Oh, this should be a delicious match. And we've got it for you next up on Prodigy. Hey, Prodigy Land, it's me, Coach Randy. You know, in recent weeks, you may have seen a lot of videos popping up on YouTube talking about YouTube's new terms of service and the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, and something called COPPA, or the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. A lot of YouTube content creators are freaking out right about now over how this change could affect their ability to earn a living from their work creating quality children's programming. Making money has never been my primary motivation for producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And it's a good thing, because if it was my primary reason for doing it, it would be a huge disappointment. I get about $300 a month from Google AdSense from those ads you see that run before the video starts playing. And that's one of the reasons I invite fans of the show to become Prodigy patrons through patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour. By committing just $5 a month, you get early access to all our shows, and for a measly $10 a month, you get early access and you get your name listed in the credits at the end of the show as an executive producer. Still, even with our Prodigy patrons, my total earnings from Prodigy has never topped about $600 or $700 in a single month in a good month. Given the 35 to 40 hours I spend working on the show each week, I'd make more per hour by flipping burgers at McDonald's. But I do Prodigy because I love doing it. What I don't love is having the federal government or YouTube questioning why I do it or deciding for me who I do it for. Prodigy Bowlers Tour has never been a children's show in my mind. Now, understand, in the context of the FTC and COPPA, a child-directed show is one that is programmed for kids under the age of 13. And while Prodigy certainly has a few kids under 13 who bowl on the show occasionally, the show is as much for their parents as it is for the kids themselves. And most of the kids you see bowling on Prodigy are well over the age of 13. So it's never really been a children's show in my mind. And now we learn that YouTube hasn't even been quite as honest with creators as they could have been. By forcing us to self-designate whether we make our videos for kids or for adults, YouTube has completely ignored a mixed-use designation that is clearly in the COPPA law. Prodigy Bowlers Tour is for viewers of all ages, and I hear from viewers of all ages all the time, from grandpas like me to young adults to teenagers and the occasional preteen. Most of the preteen viewers I've heard from watch the show with their parents. Honestly, one of my favorite things about Prodigy is how it brings families together. So with the future of revenue from these videos very much in doubt, thanks to the changes that are coming from YouTube, the FTC, and COPPA, I'd like to invite you once again to become a Prodigy patron. log on to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and sign up. It's easy and inexpensive, and you'll be supporting a show that is watched by lots of families who support this awesome sport that we love. And in so doing, you'll help me stay in the game regardless of what happens with COPPA, the FTC, and YouTube. Thanks for watching Prodigy Bowlers Tour and for being part of Prodigy Nation. And if you're a Prodigy patron already, thanks. You put enough high-octane players on the lanes, and you're bound to get some close matches. And let me tell you, match play doesn't get any more exciting than having one player throwing 2 strikes in the 10th to force his opponent to get 2 strikes in the 10th, and both of them stepping up and performing in the clutch. I know Steven would like to have that whiffed 3-pin back, and it does serve to reinforce what every coach perpetually preaches, that so many matches are won and lost with spares. But that's the way things go down sometimes. Steven recovered from the mistake and stepped up in the 10th to put all the pressure right back on Charlie. But then Charlie got up and delivered. So it's Charles Bostic who advances to our championship match, where he'll face the third and final Prodigy son in our field today, who came home to bowl with us on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Logan Madness was a mainstay on Prodigy last season, his final season in Youth League. And now that he's off at college, we only get to see him when he comes home on the weekends. Emmanuel College is not that far, so we do see him occasionally. But when he brought Stephen Lackey and Josh Donahue with him today, it certainly infused some excitement into our field today. But now it comes down to 2 of the most dominant players in Prodigy Bowlers Tour history. Charlie won 8 times in our first season and won the coveted trophy pin. And last season, earlier this calendar year, Big Logan Madness became the first and only player to roll a solo 300 game on Prodigy. So a couple of years ago, you bowled Charlie for a championship on Prodigy.
Yeah.
Charlie got every break in the book, and at one point,
410?
you just about put your hand through a countertop here.
That was so long ago? Holy crap.
I remember a song.
Boom.
39 foot solo.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you would think he would have made a little adjustment after he nearly left the 410 the last time up on the right lane. But look at this. He goes through the nose again. Now the 410 is really peeking at him, and what tripped those out at the last minute? And Logan M just pounded his hand against the counter. He knows what that ball meant right there. So is this going to be any different?
I hope not.
Well, all the counters are gone.
Facts. Well, we got chairs. We got chairs.
Chairs again.
It depends on how the pattern breaks down.
We haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a minute.
Where have you been?
Tournaments.
Tournaments?
All over.
All over.
Like that one right there. Yep, like that one.
He bowled in the U.S. Open.
It was brutal.
Finished 9th in the PTQ qualifier.
Yep.
Just to get in.
Yeah.
And that was the highlight of the week.
That was the highlight of the week. PTQ? All right, cool. I'll go home now. I didn't want to bowl the U.S. Open. I'll just take the PTQ.
Well, you got a chance to win here. Good luck to both of you. It seems a pretty safe bet that whatever excitement we've seen so far today, there's bound to be more in store with these 2 heavy hitters going at it. Logan had the choice of starting lanes, and despite some confusion here, he's elected to let Charlie start the match. That may or may not prove to be such a great idea. Charlie wanted to finish on lane 40 in the last match. He did, and he doubled in the 10th to win. Leaves a soft 10 to start the championship match. Obviously hasn't had any problems adjusting to the transition thus far, given that he finished so strong in that last match. He'll go cross lane at the 10. And covers it, as you would expect. And now big Logan Madness. He bowled league with us here at Bolero Roswell for 1 season, his senior year in high school, after all his buddies his age left the program, aging out at Stars and Strikes and Cumming. Now you may notice something different about Big Logan's game. If you haven't seen any of our live streams where he's come to bowl, his backswing is much lower now. Just a little beyond shoulder high. He used to swing it clear to the ceiling. But they changed that when he got to Emmanuel. He says the other players actually got him to change. It wasn't the coaches so much. A little off balance at the line that time. Shot goes wide. He leaves the 2-pin. Last season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, he shot 300 on this pair of lanes. That's not going to happen this match. A spare. And now Charlie moves over to lane 40. And he just is in dead stroke on that right lane. And I'll tell you what, if Charlie has one problem in his game, and he's not showing it today, it's that sometimes he'll just get a little too fast. His weight will get a little too far forward. He'll get up on his tiptoes at release. And when that happens, all kinds of things can happen, and none of them good. But I tell you what, when he slows it down and he hits the line in perfect balance like he's doing right now, Charles Bostic is one of the top 20 youth bowlers in the country, period. That's my opinion anyway. I just think he has unlimited potential. And Big Logan, he's pretty doggone good too when he sets his mind to it. Whoa. Well, that one got away from him a little bit. The 2-4-6-10. A split we don't see all that often. It's almost the super washout, but the ball just ticks the head pin. You make it by sliding the 2 over into the 6-10. He gets too much of the 2-pin, and that's an open. So Logan falls 26 pins behind Charlie, who has a double up. Well, with most youth bowlers, the biggest challenge you have as a coach is to keep their head in it when things are not going their way. But I think these two guys are kind of past that. Look at Logan. Where are his gold bowling shoes? All right, Charlie working on a double. Going to try to extend his lead here. But instead goes high, leaves the 3-6. It seems like these lanes are giving him a little over-under problem at times. It's not quite as severe as a house shot. We covered this early in the show. But we have seen some shots that miss a little to the right that come back charging a little harder, much like you see on a house shot. But the ratio is not as high on this pattern as your typical house shot. Our house shot here at Bolero Roswell, which is Stone Street, has a 10.5 to 1 ratio. Today we're bowling on about a 7.5 to 1 ratio. It's a slow messenger, but the message is delivered. And Charlie liked that one. Watch it again. The head pin is going to go to the left wall. Watch it. And it comes back slowly, slowly. And slow rolls the 10 pin. And we'll get a look at his reaction to it. Oh, he knew it was good before the pin rolled over and got the 10. He knew it was a strike. And I think Logan knew that one was a strike as soon as it left his hand. And he lets Charlie know, too. Over the fourth arrow, just inside it, he gets it out to about 8. That's been the magic line today. And that double made the match a little closer. He can close it down to just 4 pins with a strike here in the 6th. How about it? And Logan gets the light shaker to go. And now we've got us a match again. That was the 5th arrow. Out to about 8. All right, Charlie with a strike working. And he gets a double and moves that lead back out to 14 pins. It is fun to see players who know what they're doing on the lanes. Tomahawks out that 10 pin. He could use another one here. No! The dreaded stone 9. Watch this. The ball's going to cut through so sharply it takes the 5 right off the 9. 9 and a wiggle. And a spare. But now that gives Logan a bit of an advantage now. He's got 2 strikes up. And he can have the lead before he sits down again. If he can strike twice now. There's one. And that cuts the lead to 3. When you can string the strikes, that's when you can move fast, closing your opponent's lead or extending your own. Oh, he caught a handful this time. He gets the tomahawk chop on the 10 pin as well. And now one more strike here in the 8th, and Big Logan can take the lead. Stuck at the line. Ring 10. Just that slight bit of being off balance at the line. When your foot sticks or you slip a little at the foul line, your leverage is just slightly different. And it'll cause just slight variance in how that ball hits the pins. But he covers the 10. And as you would expect with these two, we're going down to the last few frames. One of these two will sign the coveted trophy pin for their first time this season. Oh! Well, Charlie said something I couldn't quite make out what it was, but he knew he maybe caught a little too much at the bottom. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 can be made. Put the ball on the right side of the 3, send it over into the 4, 7. It looks like fireworks going off when you make it. But Charlie's attempt sails a little wide, and he has an open frame in the 8th. And so Charlie's going to have a little hole he's got to dig his way out of here in the closing frames if he wants to claim victory and sign the coveted trophy pin today. It's still anybody's match. Oh, Charlie wanted that one bad. That sets up the 10th frame. You could tell by his body language. Watch this. He was wanting that one. All right, Logan. He knows what Charlie's capable of. He would love to slam the door shut and close off any possible path to a Charlie comeback. Oh, but he gets a stone 9 as well. And you hear him describe the pain he feels after leaving that stone 9. Now, he's going to want to be careful with this. You don't want any silly mistakes here at the end. All right. So Logan will take a 13-pin lead into the 10th frame. Here's how it shakes out. The situation is Logan needs 2 strikes in the 10th and 8 on his fill ball. He would shoot 220. The best Charlie can do with 3 strikes in the 10th is 219. So Logan's looking for a double. He will take a little extra time on this first ball because you can't get a double if you don't get the first one. Oh man, he threw a good one. Not rewarded though. Ringing 10, and that leaves the door open for Charlie. Now Logan's going to be careful with this 10 pin. You don't want to miss it. Even if he did, he'd shoot 200, and Charlie would need the first strike in the 10th. But obviously he wants to get this to force Charlie to double. There you go. He spares it up in the 10th. Full count here on the fill ball will give Logan 211. But that's not the number he's thinking about. He needs 8 on this ball to force Charlie to get 2 strikes in the 10th to beat him. He gets the full count. 211 will certainly do it. So, it's all on Charlie now. Here's the final strike by Big Logan. One of his better shots of the day. High flush, 10 in the pit. Can't ask for much more. Charlie needs this strike and the next strike to win. Oh, he gets a light shaker to go. So we're in the same situation we were in the last match with Stephen Lackey. Here's the first ball in the 10th. Once again, Charlie needed a strike here. He comes in thin. Watch the head pin go to the left wall and take out the 4, 7, and 8. But now he's got to have this strike, and then he'll just need a few pins of count on the fill ball. this is the critical one right here. He looked a little confused after that last shot. I don't think he expected it to come in so light. Gotta have it. Oh, and he comes in high and leaves the 410. And Big Logan wins on this day, the return of the Prodigy Sons. Charlie, the best he can do if he converts this is 207. It's a 206. Logan with a 211. It doesn't get much more exciting than that. It's Big Logan who will be signing the coveted trophy pin when we return to Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
Now, from the Prodigy Bowlers Tour newsroom, with reports from around the world, across the nation, and up your alley. This is Prodigy Striking News.
Congratulations to Annalise O'Brien. In her first year bowling in the U17 girls division, she won the Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour, GYBT, event on December 1st at Bolero Austell. But the big news coming out of that event last weekend was that Hunter Moffett not only won the U12 boys division, but his 10.02 score for 5 games was the second highest posted by anyone in any age division, including the U20s. Only the U20 boys winner, Alex Neal, posted a higher score with 10.18. And there was no shortage of high-octane talent in the field. Terrell Ingalls, Charlie Bostic, Josh Donaghy, Tristan Davis, C.J. Sanders, Logan Madness, Gilbert Kang, Emily Reddig, and yes, Annalise O'Brien were among those that Hunter's score bested. You know, it's one thing to win your age division, but when you're in the youngest age division and you bowl better than every other player in the field but one, that's something to ring your bell about. And Hunter deserves a big congratulations for his awesome day on the lanes. It came on the heels of his birthday the day before. Quite a way to celebrate your birthday. Way to go, Hunter. I'm sure we'll see you on Prodigy Bowlers Tour again soon. And you can now pretty much forget about anyone spotting you any handicap pins anytime soon.
In the afternoon, when things slow down, when you're wondering what to do, let's go! Go bowling! Nothing brings people together or makes friends so fast as bowling. So call a friend. Bowl Brunswick tomorrow.
That was quite a thrill ride. The last 2 matches came down to the final balls in the 10th frame. I'm spent from just watching. Charlie gave it everything he had. But at the end, Logan had banked just enough quality shots to fend off his hard-charging opponent. So if Charlie wants to get his name on this year's coveted trophy pin, he's just going to have to take time out from his travel schedule to come bowl with us again this season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. But big congratulations to our #1 seed today. Logan Madness bowled the best all day, and now he gets to make a return trip to the winner's circle.
Well, has it been so long that you've forgotten what this is all about?
No.
From Emmanuel College comes Big Logan M today.
Let me get this straight.
To win his first
Prodigy event of the 2019-20 season. And yes, today is 11/16/2019.
Spares are really important, I can tell you that.
Yeah, they turned out to be.
Oh, good. Spares. I've always struggled with spares.
But you know what?
To keep the 8th, 9th, and 10th clean, it helps. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I know I've had trouble this season already, but that's what we do. I mean, we got to practice some spares in tournaments.
You got up in the 10th frame, and for once, you weren't on.
410 didn't trip out.
And for once, you weren't on lane 40.
Yes. Too.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Come back and see us.
I will.